Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Play Star Trek Online. This is the Doctor and today we're going to look at the Obelisk, which is a brand new alien carrier that is obtainable through Sphere of Influence. Before we jump into the game and explore the Obelisk, I just wanted to go over some of the dev blog notes on the Obelisk so that we know where we're coming from and show you some key points about the specifications and the ship details. There are two versions of the Obelisk, first of all. There is the free Obelisk, which you get by playing Sphere of Influence. Everybody can play that until December 5th. On December 5th, this mission goes away or becomes integrated into the storyline, but the Obelisk is no longer available from that mission. The other Obelisk is the Advanced Obelisk. It is obtainable through the low-buy store for 800 low-buy. I do not think that one will go away. I think that one will persist after December 5th, and it will cost 800 low-buy. It is better than the free one, and it is also required to get that one if you want to have all three sets that go into the Obelisk to give you the 3-piece bonus set. The free Obelisk comes with 2 of the pieces. The low-buy one comes with the final 3rd piece, and you put all 3 pieces together and you have even more abilities on your Obelisk. Okay, so first of all, design notes. This is something that is very important right here. Let's see. First of all, it is an alien ship. It comes from a race that we have now learned it is called the Solanae. I don't particularly know how to pronounce it, but it's S-O-L-A-N, something like that. It's a weird spelling, but it's like Solanae. Those are the clicky aliens that you saw in Sphere of Influence. They are not the Iconians, obviously, but they work for the Iconians. They are servitors of the Iconians. This Obelisk is their technology, the Solanae. So the Obelisk comes from the clicky aliens that you see in that mission. This is their ship. It is based on Elachi technology as well. The Elachi and the Solanae are kind of have a history together, a lineage, I guess, or a genealogy, I guess is a better word, together. And they all work for the Iconians. So it's not an Iconian ship. It is not an unknown race. It is the Solanae who we see in the episode. And right here, this tells you, the very first paragraph right here, although the ship is not Elachi in design, it shares enough similarities with their technology to have a common origin. So the Solanae and the Elachi have a common origin. That's important, I suppose, but that tells you where it comes from. This is the largest playable starship in Star Trek Online, and this tells you right here, this is very important, it is an engineering-centric carrier with very high hull strength and an abundant amount of seating for engineering bridge officers and engineering consoles. So this ship is engineering-centric. This means if you're a tactical officer or a science officer, you probably will not enjoy it as much as you would on an engineering character. So, there you go. This ship is probably the best tank in the game because the advanced version, and I'll show you that in a bit, has the highest hull strength in this game. But first, let's talk about the regular one here, the normal free one that you get in-game. You have here a required minimum rank of 40. You cannot fly it until level 40. It has a hull strength of 43,500. That is not the highest hull strength. There are fleet versions of retrofit ships, in fact, that have 44 or 45,000 hull. So this is not the highest, but the advanced one I'll show you below is. So, but it still is a very high hull strength. It's not terrible, and you add buffs to that, you can have a really good hull strength, a good tank. Only a 1 shield modifier, crew of 3,000. That's not the highest in this game. It is one of the highest. There's at least one more ship I think that has a 3,000 crew to it, carrier or some ship. So this is not the only one that has a crew of 3,000, but that it is up there. That's like the max. 3 forward weapons, 3 aft, 4 device slots, and here's the one that everybody hates: 5-degree turn rate. It's a carrier. It's not for turning. Impulse modifier 0.15, 1 lieutenant tactical, 1 lieutenant engineering, 1 commander engineering, so there's your engineering, 1 lieutenant commander science, 1 ensign universal. Interesting that it has a lieutenant commander science and not a lieutenant commander tactical. So it's more engineering, and then it goes to science, and then tactical last. So science, or engineering, science, tactical is how I look at it. It has 2 tactical slots, 4 engineering, and 3 science. Again, more engineering than anything, and then science, and then tactical last. It has plus 10 power to shields, plus 10 power to auxiliary, and it can equip dual cannons. It has 2 hangar bays, and it comes with Obelisk Swarmer hangar bays by default. And if you watch one of my previous videos, you can get advanced swarmers, which I highly recommend. If you're going to run this thing, you want the advanced swarmers. You do not want the normal ones. The advanced ones are obviously better. And has subsystem targeting. So that's the standard one. That's the free one. Everybody gets that from playing this mission, Sphere of Influence. You have to be level 10 or above to play it. And then once you are level 40, you can fly the carrier. Okay? So it's not awesome. It does come with 2 things not listed here. It comes with a unique warp core engine, an Obelisk Rift warp core, subspace Rift warp core, and that's part of the console set, or the set bonuses. And then it comes with a 360-degree anti-proton beam array, and that is also the second piece to the puzzle. And then the third one is on the advanced Obelisk. So the warp core and the beam array can be put on any ship, and obviously it is made for the Obelisk. And if you want the set bonuses and all that, really going to benefit you most on the Obelisk. However, the set bonuses will work on other ships as well, so if you put the 2 together, you will get that extra anti-proton damage that the set provides. We'll look at that in a little bit. Now here's the second one. This is the one that is the awesome ship. This is the OP ship, you could say, or OP carrier, and this is the advanced Obelisk carrier. You get it at the low-buy store. And we can look at the specs right here. Obviously, the biggest one here to me is the hull strength. 47,850 hull strength just out of the gate. That's the highest hull strength in this game on any ship by default. So if you want the ultimate tank in game, it's the advanced Obelisk carrier. You take this and then you add on all your hull buffs from doing reputation missions, like Nukara has a hull buff and all that stuff. You add all that stuff into this, you could really beef that hull up. I cannot wait to try it myself and see how high I can get the hull. But that is only on the advanced one. And it has a higher shield modifier as well, 1.1 shield modifier instead of just 1. So you're actually going to get a higher shield capacity in combination with that. Again, this is the ultimate tank. It's got the same 3-4, 3-aft weapons, same turn rate. It's got 1 lieutenant tactical, 1 commander engineering, 1 lieutenant commander science, 1 ensign universal. So it takes away one of those tactical positions and it gives you a universal one instead. So gives you a little more freedom in how you're going to build this ship. 2 tactical slots, but check it out, you get 1 more engineering slot, 5 engineering, 3 science, so you can do 5 engineering consoles. And that'll come in handy because if you want to put all 3 bonus sets on here, you will want to have an extra slot. Plus 10 to shields, plus 10 to auxiliary, can equip dual cannons, 2 hangar bays, and again I recommend getting the advanced swarmers. I do not recommend putting cannons on a thing like this, even though it can equip cannons. I would do all beams. Just make this thing a beam boat with torps, and you're good to go. You know, fire at will is probably going to be the thing you want. And it comes with the console universal reactive anti-proton cascade emitter, and that's the third piece of the puzzle you need to put all 3 pieces together. So The swarmers themselves, they're cool. We'll just look at them a little bit here. The advanced obelisk carrier comes with 2 hanger obelisk swarmers. See, obelisk swarmers are armed with forced anti-proton arrays, anti-proton defense systems arrays, transphasic torpedoes, and they can use beam array overload. And the advanced ones, they have beam array overload 2. Is what they use. They're good, and you can launch a lot of them at a time, and they're called swarmers for a reason. You keep launching them, right, and they keep building up, and you eventually have a ton of swarmers out there. Once you get to like 6 wings or whatever of swarmers out there, they do make a big difference. They're really, really cool. And then they have this feature called a reactive anti-proton cascade. You can see a picture of it right here. And it is the bonus from having all 3 pieces. So if you have the reactive anti-proton emitter, you have the omnidirectional anti-proton beam, and the subspace rift core all together, then you get this ability that you're seeing right here in the screenshot. And it's like a lightning bolt emits from your ship and goes to each of the swarmers and then goes to your enemy. And it's really cool looking in space. I unfortunately cannot show it to you because I don't have both ships. But when I do have the ability to show both ships and have all 3 pieces, I will show this ability to you. Until then, we can't see it, but there's a screenshot of it, and it is awesome. You do get to see it and use it if you play Sphere of Influence. At the very end of that mission, when you're in your obelisk, that ability is available to you because all 3 pieces are on that ship when you play it. So go activate this ability while you're playing that mission, and you will see it in action, and it is awesome. So let's see. The reactive anti-proton cascade emitter console. The advanced obelisk carrier comes with comes with that console. The console has 2 functions. When activated, it overrides the sensors of your target. And during this time, your ship gains a large damage resistance and a shield hardening increase. And after a short time, you will counter enemy energy attacks with a potent defensive system that fires bursts of anti-proton energy at attacking vessels. So I love that. Omnidirectional anti-proton beam. I like this one. It's a 360 degree anti-proton beam array. Can it work with beam array overload? Yes, absolutely. It works with beam array overload. So if you put this thing, for example, on an escort in your aft station, you will have a 360 degree anti-proton beam no matter where your ship is turned. Even if you're firing all your forward dual heavy cannons, you will also have this beam array also firing forward at your enemies, and it does work with beam array overload. Obviously, if it's going to be better if you have an anti-proton build, because then you're going to be buffing the energy type damage on that. If you put it in combination with anything else like phasers or plasma or whatever, you're going to be losing a little bit because you're not really buffing the damage for that. You're buffing the damage for your other weapons and not that one. And then you have the subspace rift warp core, and it has some really cool stuff. We'll look at the stuff on it. If you have 2 of those pieces together on a ship, and you get those 2 pieces from the free obelisk, you get the 10% bonus to anti-proton damage. So 2 pieces together gives you a 10% bonus to anti-proton. So if you're doing an anti-proton build, it makes sense to have 2 of those pieces, and that would be the warp core and the omnidirectional beam. You put those 2 together on an anti-proton build, and you will get a 10% bonus to anti-proton damage. So that's going to be useful for that. If you get the advanced ship and you get the console and you put all 3 pieces together, then you get that reactive lightning thingamajig. Also, the ship comes with a unique bridge, and that is cool. So that is the spec. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Online. This is the Doctor again. We are continuing our look at the Obelisk, and really quick, I just wanted to show you something because I was looking at starships here. I was looking particularly at hull strength, and I had mentioned that the advanced Obelisk has the highest hull strength. It does. I just wanted to show you the next ship down from that I could find in-game that has the next highest hull strength, and it was the Fleet Exploration Cruiser Retrofit. And as you can see, it has a hull strength of 44,000. So if you wanted to get a ship that could be a tank, this would also be a good option right here. This is basically second to the Obelisk, the advanced Obelisk, in the most hull strength that you can get out of the gate on a ship. Also, it has a shield modifier of 1.1, so you get a higher shield capacity as well. So, if you wanted a tank and you didn't want to fly the Obelisk, this ship could be another option as well. It has a higher hull strength than the free Obelisk, so it's in between the free Obelisk and the advanced Obelisk on hull strength. And the other ships are a lot lower. Let's see, 42.9, 42.9, 43.4, 42.9. 41.2. So yeah, 44, that's the best one of that. So something to consider. Okay, now it is time to equip our Obelisk. First of all, it is recommended by the dev blog that this be an engineering-centric carrier. In that light, I am going to equip this on an engineering character. And so here we are on Ensign Ricky, and he is an engineer, so he is apt to equipping this Obelisk. However, he does not have, and I must make note of this, he does not have very good gear, Ensign Ricky, unfortunately. I need to grind him a lot more, and I have not. He doesn't have the best gear for this. He has no anti-proton weapons, none, zero, zip, zilch. He has been phaser, so he is not geared for the Obelisk. He does not have what's going to make the Obelisk rock. But he is going to allow me to show you the Obelisk today. It's not necessarily about the build that I'm putting on today, but it's about discussing what kinds of builds we can put on the Obelisk, looking at that, talking about it, discussing it, and looking at this thing in space, seeing what abilities we can use without getting the advanced one, and just look at it in general as an introduction to the free Obelisk. And that's what we're going to do today. What I really want to do, and what I will do in a follow-up, but it will take time, is to get the advanced Obelisk and to put that on my other engineering character, the Last Doctor. He has all the gear to make the advanced Obelisk awesome. He has advanced fleet anti-proton beam arrays, and he has enough to put on the Obelisk because I used to have an anti-proton build on him. So he is actually geared for the Obelisk. However, I want to wait until I get the advanced one to put on him because that has all the better stuff on it, and then I can use the 3 sets, put it all on it, and I can show you that. That I will do, but it's going to be a while because I do not have any low-buy on that character, or any low-buy. Now that low-buy is account bound and not character bound, you can combine your low-buy, but even altogether I do not have near enough low-buy to buy the advanced Obelisk yet. When I'm able to do that and I can buy the advanced Obelisk, rest assured I will make another video and we will equip the advanced Obelisk on the Last Doctor, and we will equip it with all anti-protons, and we will make it awesome, and we will use the full 3-piece set, and we will go play it in the STFs, and it will be sweet. Today, this ship, I will not be flying it in the STFs because I don't have what will make it good. It would be pretty crappy, to be honest with you. But I can at least show it to you, and we can discuss builds and look at it, and now you'll know what it is all about. You'll know the specifications. You'll know all that stuff about it. So, that's what we're going to do today. Now, in order to get both the warp core and the omnidirectional antiproton beam, you do have to replay Sphere of Influence twice. So if you go to your game menu thing here, you go to episodes, featured episodes, you'll see Sphere of Influence. You'll see that I just replayed it so I can get both parts, so it's on cooldown right now. But when you hit replay, you can go replay it, and then you can claim one item each time you play it. So you have to do it twice in order to get both the warp core and the omnidirectional beam, but I recommend doing that, and also get the advanced swarmers when you play it so that you have the best swarmers for your Obelisk. And let's see, If you replay it beyond that, you can grind it for more warp cores. Like, let's say you have several ships on one character. Grind it for more warp cores for all your ships. Grind it for more omnidirectional beams. You can only equip one warp core or one beam per ship, but you can have lots of them on one character so that you can put them on multiple ships. So that is important to note. Important to note also is that the two-piece bonus on this is the focused anti-proton emitters from the warp core and the omnidirectional beam, and you can get that. You can put this on any ship and get that, and again, that is plus 10% to anti-proton damage. So if you're not using anti-proton weapons, you're not going to get the full benefits of this set. I've got the advanced swarmers and I got my obelisk ready to go here. I've taken everything off from the ship I was using before, which is the Avenger. I still have to do more videos on that, and that's not finished yet in any shape, way, or form, or whatever. But today, it's all about the obelisk. So use our obelisk, and it's going to call my obelisk the Estrella. By default, you can see 43.5 hull, so that other ship I just showed you had 44 hull, so it's got 500 more hull than this one. If you wanted a fleet version ship that has a little bit more hull. Otherwise, the advanced obelisk is going to have the most hull. This also only has a 1 shield modifier, so there's no shield capacity bonus. Alright, done and done. We now have an obelisk carrier. It's that simple, and I'm getting stuck on stairs. Now we go to select your ship, and Estrella, there's our ship. We are going to make it default ready starship. Now the obelisk is our primary ship. I'm not going to bother renaming it right now. Again, this is not going to be a ship that I stick with on this character, because I really want to keep working on the Avenger, and I will use the advanced obelisk on another character who will be a whole lot better at it. But I'm gonna strip everything off here because we're going to put all my own stuff on here for right now and look at it. I probably will not respec any of my characters either in their powers, because I don't want to affect my Avenger build that I'm working on. So we will just look at options and what we could do, but I'm not necessarily going to do right now. Now this comes with the regular obelisk swarmers. So that's what they do. They do focused anti-proton array, transphasic torpedo, anti-proton defense array, and beam array overload 1. The advanced ones, they do beam overload 2, and advanced anti-proton defense array, transphasic torpedo, and focused anti-proton array. I'm not sure, but they may have a higher hull strength than the other ones. I don't know for certain. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, we're going to get rid of these regular ones, and we're just going to use the advanced ones. Because if you're going to get the ship, you want to get those. Okay, so we'll put those things on there. Now here's the key things that make this unique. We'll put on our subspace rift core. Before we do that, real quick, let's look at the stats. Plus 7.5 additional auxiliary power, plus 10 maximum auxiliary power, maximum warp factor 10, adds 7.5% of your auxiliary power to your shield power as bonus power. So this thing actually boosts your auxiliary power, which is interesting, but in doing that, that's actually going to provide more shield power in a roundabout way, because you get 7.5 of your auxiliary power gets added to your shield power, which is weird, but that's how it works. So by adding to your auxiliary power, you are technically adding to your shield power. I just wish it just flat out did it, but hey, it does it. It's cool. But if you're not using a lot of auxiliary abilities like science powers that use auxiliary stuff, this is kind of a waste of a warp core, because you don't want things going into auxiliary if you're not using your auxiliary power. You would rather want more weapon power or shield power. That's why I think the fleet warp cores are still better, because they can be focused on more focus things on your ship. Like you can focus more on weapon power or focus more on shield power only, and not anything about auxiliary if you don't need it. Fleet warp cores are still better. But if you do not have access to a fleet, or you don't have the resources to get a fleet warp core, or you just want something to hold you until you can get a fleet warp core, then this is the best warp core, and it's better than anything really. This also reduces recharge time to slipstream. You can turn a little bit better in slipstream. And this is the one that I like. It's got a shield power buff. It's called shield capacitor. You can gain plus 15 shield power setting for 10 seconds. And higher shield regeneration, and it repairs disabled shields. And it is part of the set. It is part of the Ancient Obelisk technology set. So we'll put the warp core on. I like that it's purple. It doesn't change the color of anything on your ship or your engines or anything like that. I wish it did. I wish putting warp cores on would change the visual of your ship in some way to just make ships even more unique. I think that would be awesome, but it doesn't. The omnidirectional anti-proton beam is anti-proton damage, pure and simple, and it is 360-degree beam. It has an accuracy and a damage. I would have preferred that damage to go away, and I would have preferred for them to make it accuracy times 2, but it's not. Arc is the third one, and that means it has a 360-degree targeting arc. The arc is actually a modifier. So, it really only has like 2 modifiers because the arc is kind of the built-in feature of it, that it's 360 degrees. So you kind of lose one of the modifiers there. I would have preferred accuracy times 2, but what you gonna do? Beam array overload does work on it. So we'll put it in the aft station. That's the best place you want to put it because it can fire from 360 degrees. Okay, other than that, it's just a matter of putting on stuff on our ship here. And again, I do not have the anti-proton stuff that I want, so I'm going to use phasers because that's all I got. And I don't have the best weaponry. So the 2-piece bonus is now active. And you can see it right there. It's highlighted in white now. It's the focused anti-proton emitters. It's the set 2 is highlighted. So I am getting plus 10 anti-proton damage, and that will help the omnidirectional anti-proton beam, but it will not help my phasers in any way, so it's kind of wasted. We're going to put 2 phasers. We'll put a torpy. Gotta have a torp, and all I have is Aegis on this character, so we'll put Aegis. I don't have anything else real useful. We will, because I'm not going to put the kinetic cutting beam or a torpedo. I'm going to put more beams on this ship. Because it's a carrier, you're not going to turn, so you want to consider you're going to be firing beams from all directions, and you're going to want the ability to fire lots of beams. I would just flood this thing out with beams and just put a torpedo in the front where you need it. See, I got 3 beams in the back, 2 in the front. That's all you can do really, but that's going to be the op thing for it. It's all beams. Think of it as a beanie boat. Of course, my 2 phaser consoles. You only have 2 tactical slots anyway. I always like having that console there, so I'm going to have it there because that increases critical chance, critical severity, and on anti-proton weapons, actually, that's really good because the whole thing about anti-proton weapons is its critical severity bonus and all that stuff. That's the innate ability of anti-protons, is critical severity. So this thing here, it improves critical severity as well as your critical chance to get those critical severity shots. So that kind of this ties in really good with anti-proton stuff, this console here, the Universal Simulated Module. Yeah, I got a couple devices I can put in. See, for science, I got a shield. But I don't have any more than that, unfortunately. We'll put an EPS and my neutronium. That's really all I got. I could purchase more things, but I don't want to waste money right now on this character. So let's look at some other ideas for builds, because obviously this is not the best build, it's not good, but you could do something different. So we'll start right here. We'll start with first our forward and aft slots. I think this thing is best built for beams, okay? Because again, you're not going to turn, you're not going to do much in space. So you want to be able to fire beams from all directions and just kind of sit in space and maybe do fire at will at all your enemies. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, but you know, whatever. Beam array overload and fire at will. Those are going to be your important, you know, beam abilities. So I would have 1 torpedo on your front because you want to have a torpedo, and something like the Omega Torp is really good because it fires fast when you do not do the high yield, but you just do the regular torpedo. It actually fires pretty fast, and you get the little smaller torpedoes. The Omega one is actually really good for that, so that will help. And then you only have 2 slots for the forward. You could put a dual beam bank here and one, but again, that dual beam bank has a narrower firing arc. So you'd have to turn your ship to make sure it's pointed, you know, toward the front, towards your enemy, and to get the damage from that dual beam bank. So I would probably just stick to a regular beam array, which has a wider 250 degree arc. And that way I don't necessarily have to be pointed at my enemy, but I can still get that beam, those 2 beam arrays firing at the enemy. So I would put 2 beam arrays up here, and again I would go with anti-proton for sure. You know, get the best you can. If you can get the advanced fleet anti-proton, that's the thing to go for. Now back here it gets interesting. If you want to have the set bonuses, you're going to have the omnidirectional thingy-majiggy on here. So you're going to have that regardless. So then you're only left with 2 slots left. You could put a torpedo back here. You could put the kinetic cutting beam back here. But I think that's kind of a waste. I think you would get higher DPS out of flat out advanced fleet anti-proton beams. I think that will give you more DPS than the kinetic cutting beam and more DPS than a torpedo maybe, because that torpedo would have a narrower firing arc, and you would have to have your butt of your ship turned towards your enemy in order to fire the torpedo at your butt. So I would rather have just 2 beam arrays back here. That way when my ship is turned to the side like this, I have 4 beam arrays basically firing port side, you know, to my enemy if I'm pointed in that direction. So I think that's the way to go. I think this is the best build. Just replace these phasers with anti-protons. So you'd have 2 advanced fleet anti-protons, 2 advanced fleet anti-proton beam arrays, and an Omega Torp here, and your omnidirectional, and that's probably going to be your best weapon setup on this ship. I mean, there's just no way around that, because you're very limited because to anti-proton, because the set bonus buffs anti-proton damage, so that's what you want, is anti-protons. And then to get the most from that, also 2 anti-proton mag regulators. If you can get Mark 12, very rare. I mean, they're extremely expensive, I know. I know how expensive those consoles are, but if you could get them, that would buff your anti-proton damage as much as possible. And you only have 2 tactical slots, so you don't have a lot to buff. But I would take advantage of that as much as I could. Now, as far as your ship shield, deflector, and impulse engine, you're going to want something that's tanky, because again, this is a tank and you're not going to move fast. Omega, forget it. Omega is weak. Omega is offensive. Omega is not defensive. Borg, shield, forget it. That has the lowest capacity. It is not good. Now, arguably, you could do the Borg deflector and impulse engine, because together, the 2 set bonus of those gives a hull healing ability that improves your hull healing, but also, when it hits, will give you instant hull heals and improve hull healing damage if you've taken a lot of damage to your hull. That could be useful. That will help you tank. As for the shield, you want to go with something with a high capacity, and you don't want a resilient shield. You want a covariant type shield. I would go for the adapted Mako shield on this ship. The adapted Mako is going to have one of the higher capacities in shield. It's got a plasma resistance, so it's not resistant to everything, but if you're going to fight a lot of Borg, it's good. And there's also an ability that when it hits, I'm trying to think of what the ability is. I believe that the ability, you know what, I completely forgot, and I don't have one to show you, but I know somebody out there will know what I'm talking about. When you look at the shields, you know, it'll tell you what other abilities the shield has. The adapted Mako has another ability associated with it that when it procs, it will do a certain thing. I believe the regular Mako shield procs to help you with shield buffing, but I forget what the adapted Mako one does. It does something that's useful, but really the biggest thing there is the capacity on it. The Riemann shield actually has, if you go to your reputation and go to the actually we can do that right now. I didn't even think of that. Let's just do this real quick. No. Yeah, the adapted Mako. Here we go. Okay, there you go. There's what I was talking about. There's the other ability. When receiving all energy damage, a chance of applying subvert targeting array to damage owner, minus 20% accuracy for 10 seconds, placate for 1 second. So it's not the best thing in the world, but it's an extra ability that shield has. Anyway, that will help you while you're in battle. You know, if you can confuse your enemy, that's a good thing. So, but the capacity on this is what I'm talking about. It's really good capacity. The Romulan or Riemann shield also has a good capacity, but you have to make sure to get the Mark 12 very rare one. The blue, purple Riemann deflector engine shield. It is 8-1, so it's not as good as the adapted Mako, but it's still an okay shield if you were going to tank with this thing, but I would still go with the adapted Mako. Plus, this doesn't have any resistance to energy types, but whereas the adapted Mako has a resistance to at least plasma. There are other options as well. I cannot look at them yet. I haven't done any Nukara. I don't think the Nukara shield would really help that much. I'm trying to think. Aegis might be not terrible. Aegis is 6'9", not really a good shield capacity, but it has this ability where it will start stacking. It's called reactive shielding, and it starts stacking your shield buff, but you have to have all three Aegis sets, so you have to have the deflector, the engine, and the shield on to get reactive shielding. And it says here, when your shields are hit, reactive shielding has a chance to activate, increasing the resistance to the incoming damage for a short time. And this is the part that makes it good, is that it stacks up to 5 times. But you have to have all 3 Aegis pieces on. I would go for the adapted Mako. That's really the best. If you want to go with the adapted Mako engine and deflector as well, that's fine. But I would prefer to use the Borg one. I think the Borg deflector, Borg engine, plus the adapted Mako shield would be best for this thing. Also remember that the Borg deflector improves starship hull strength as well. So it's like starship hull integrity or something like that. So adding the Borg deflector will increase your hull strength. That's another way to get that hull strength up right here, which right now is not showing because we're not in space, but 43.5 is default. And if you add the Borg deflector, it will be higher because it simply adds more hull to it. I don't have the Borg stuff on here. I'm not sure. I'm going to go to my bank and see if I have the Borg stuff on here. On this character. So I can show you what the difference would be. I'd like to do that. So let me just run to the bank real quick, see if I have that or not. Can't remember if I have the Borg stuff on this character or not. This character, he needs so much. But it takes time to grind. Right now I'm working on Nukara on 3 of my characters at once. And I'm up to tier 4 on all 3 of them. So I'm getting there, but it takes a long time to do. And then after I get them done with Nukara, then I'll get Ensign Ricky up on Nukara. But I still need to grind Marks to get him more gear. He doesn't have any of that adapted Mako stuff yet. Okay, I have no Borg parts. I haven't requisitioned any of those. That's a shame. It'd be Omega. And right now I have the adapted stuff queued and I don't have any Marks. So yeah, I can't show you that, but basically adding the Borg deflector will increase the whole strength of your ship beyond the base. So I would do the 2-piece Borg plus adapted Mako. Alright, what else? The warp core. If you want to get the full benefit from the ship, you're going to want the 2 or 3-piece set, so you're just going to be stuck with that warp core. As for your consoles now, you're going to want to buff your energy type down here. You're going to want the advanced swarmers. Now for the science consoles, here's what's interesting. Since this is not a ship geared for science, and you're not probably going to be flying it with science abilities, I would forgo adding any science consoles and just using these maximum shield capacity consoles. They stack with diminishing returns, but the ability does stack. So and I only have the Mark 11 rare, so it's not good, but if you were to get like the Mark 12 very rares or whatever, and put all 3 of those maximum shield capacities on here, you could really, really, really increase your total shield capacity on your ship. And since you're going to be using the ship for tanking or just sitting in space like a dumb duck, like a lame duck not doing anything, you're going to want a high shield capacity to coincide with that high hull. So I would max out my science consoles with all maximum shield capacities, and bam, you have the best tank you can get, especially with the advanced obelisk. Again, I would go with this universal simulated module because it will help with anti-proton stuff because of that critical chance and critical severity. An EPS, I would put an EPS on. I like having them on every ship. It just helps my weapon power get back to where it needs to be faster. And then you'd have 2 more slots, but you need to consider now. Actually, I might retract my statement about the science slots because I forgot. We are going to have 1 more console slot that we would add if we had the advanced obelisk. We're going to get that other console slot, so we need to put it somewhere. I would put it in my science slot and then just have 2 of the maximum shield capacities. Reason being is because for my other 2 engineering slots, I would have the fleet version of the neutronium alloy. And if you get the fleet version of the neutronium alloy, first of all, you have much higher kinetic and all energy resistance, but you can get a modifier associated with that fleet version. And one of the modifiers you can get with that is a hull strength modifier that increases your hull health. So in addition to the one the Borg is adding, you can add even more hull strength to your ship with the fleet neutronium. And that will boost your hull strength even more. That just buffs it up even more, okay? So that will help. Second, because this is a carrier and it does move slow, I would put an RCS on here. Just 1. You don't want to waste all your slots. Just 1. But I would go with the fleet version of the RCS console. And just like the fleet neutronium, it also offers modifiers. And it has some cool modifiers. I'm trying to think of what they are. I forget. One of them is a power transfer improvement. But there are a couple other modifiers associated with the RCS as well. But the fleet version will give you the highest RCS potential, and then that extra modifier which will help with something. In fact, I think it may even have, one of them has another hull strength increase on there, so you could increase your hull strength even more with that RCS one. So you could have an RCS and a neutronium on there, improving your hull strength or something like that. It really buff it up. So I would do a fleet RCS, I'd do a fleet neutronium, EPS, that. Then I would do 2 science consoles for shield capacity, and then I'd put my third one I get from the advanced obelisk here, which would be the console that you get. So then you get the 3-piece bonus. Buff your energy types, get your hangar bay going, and that's probably the best setup. Yeah, that's what I would do. And until you get the 3rd console, you could go ahead and put 3 shield capacities here and get that shield strength up. Sure. Alright, I think that would really make the obelisk pretty sweet. Now as far as stations go, you have some leeway here, because you got some universal slots. Well, you have more on the advanced ones. Here you have 1. On the advanced one you have 2 universal slots. So Commander Engineering, again, this is going to be engineering. You want your main engineering character that you have for whatever ship, there, and you're going to get the full Commander Engineering abilities. Then you're going to get a Lieutenant Engineering ability, so put your other engineering person there. Then you're going to have a Lieutenant Commander Science. Now that's nice. I don't even have him promoted to that level. But if you did and you had another thing, you could have 3 things here. That's good for healing. That's good. You could have a science team, hazard emitter, and polarized hull. That's what I would do. All healing abilities. But for a carrier like this and trying to stay alive while you're taking down your enemy and trying to be a good tank, I would forego any offensive science abilities like, shield drain or anything like that. No. Just forget all that. Hazard emitters, science team, polarized hull, those 3, and I think that would be the best science abilities you could have on this ship. As for your engineering abilities, you have a lot of options, obviously. I mean, you're going to have a commander engineering ability, so choose something good. Emergency power to shields 3, because I can train that. So I got 2 tier 3 abilities right now on this. But I mean, you're going to want engineering team. You maybe want emergency power to weapons, but maybe just emergency power to weapons 1. You don't really need emergency power to weapons 2, although you could. And I just realized emergency power to weapons also increases your energy damage. So maybe 2 is good. You can increase your energy damage and your power settings. So emergency power to weapons is a good thing to have, especially if you're using all beams. You want to increase that energy damage because beams are weaker than cannons. Just configure it what sounds good and looks good to you. I would definitely have emergency power to weapons. I would have emergency power to shields. I would have engineering team. And then the other things are just up to you. What would you like to have? Sometimes on slow ships I like to have emergency power to engines. But I don't know if I would need it so much on this ship because I don't know if I would be I could benefit from something else. Tactical, you only have, you don't have a lot of tactical slots. I would have, you don't have many choices here. But because you're going to be mostly beams on the ship, I would have beam overload 2 instead of torpedo high yield 2. I would do beam overload 2, and then I would keep my tactical team, and then I would add another tactical slot, and I would make it maybe torpedo spread. Spread sounds like a good thing you would want to have on a character, on a carrier, doesn't it? Either spread or high yield. Probably spread. Well, I would definitely have a torpedo ability. So that way I would have a tactical team ability. That will rotate the damage you're taking to your ship on your shield facings. It would rotate your shields to which one is taking damage, so that's useful. I'd have beam overload 2. And then I would probably have a torpedo ability, either spread or high yield. And that's all you can do on tactical. But I think that would work. I'm not going to change it right now because I don't want to screw up my other stuff, but I think that would work. I think what I just discussed would work. And I'm sure there's other ideas too, but everyone's got their ideas. So that's really all I can say about building this ship. I mean, there's really not much else to say except let's beam into space and take a look at it. I also want to look at the bridge. And it's huge. Our default view, as you can see, we are really zoomed in. So we zoom way out. There, that's what it looks like with the Aegis set. So you get those lines on it. Looks really nice. Pretty cool. Now these are your carrier commands. You can make these menus go away or hide them or move them around. But those are your carrier commands. So I can launch my swarmers. And you see that I got basically... Okay, it's going to launch all of them. Oh, it's going to launch all 3. Okay, cool. It launches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It launches 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I can launch more than that. So there they are. There's one. There's one. Let's see what the hull strength is on it. Yeah, 1860 hole. Very, very not good. Okay, so there's 6 of them, okay? And you can see when I highlight them out here, it highlights them up here. Or I could just click on them here, and it switches to each one. I didn't know you could do that, but that is awesome. So you can see which ones are taking damage or which ones you want to heal. Like I could select him, and then I could heal, do a whole heal. See, I just did a whole heal on him. So you can do things to your things. But I can launch more. I'll do it again. And now look how many I'll have out here. So now we have even more out here. And I can click on them. And this is the max you can have. But that's a lot. That's a lot. So 12 swarmers. Now consider you have other people with obelisks in your team, and they've also launched 12 swarmers. Boy, you can get just a beehive of these things going. But they have a low hull. That means that they can die fast. And if they do, just keep launching them. That's all you have to do. You can just keep launching them. Keep replenishing them. Now here's the commands you can give them. You can give them the command to attack, and that causes pets to attack the current enemy or target, any nearby ship. You can give them the command of escort, which causes pets to defend the current friendly target. You can give them the command of intercept, and they will remain around the carrier, focusing on hostile torpedoes and fighters. So that's cool to keep stuff off your back. Recall, you can recall them, and recalls them to dock. And what's cool is that I can do separate things to different ones. I can do this group of 6 here. I can do them to attack, and then this group I could have them do the intercept to keep stuff off my back. So I could have 6 of them attacking my target, and I can have 6 of them defending me, basically. That is cool and unique. So you can mix it up of how you want to do things. I like that a lot. That gives you a lot of freedom in how you want your pets to do things. Now they're very tiny, especially because you have to zoom out because your ship is so big. So it is hard to see them in battle, and I can see that being a problem, is that it'll be hard to know how many you have alive or dead or what they're doing even. Now you can see here how their health is. You can see their shield strength, and you can see their health. I'm not sure what the stars mean, but you can see that. So if they start dying, you will see them disappear, and then that will let you know if you need to let out more. But it will still be hard to see what they're doing unless you click on one and look around their map to see where it's at. It will be hard to see what they're actually doing because they're so tiny, and there's so much action going on at once, it'll be hard to see. So that is the swarmers. There are other abilities. We have this ability here. This is the shield capacitor. This comes from having the 2-set bonus, I guess, or having the warp core and the omnidirectional beam, or I'm not sure if you have to have both to have that work or if just one. Yeah, that's still there. So that must be a warp core feature. Let's see, pull that off. Yeah, it disappears. So it's not part of the omnidirectional beam. Nope. It is only the warp core. So the warp core does have a special feature, a special function. So make sure to hit your P and go at it. It's called shield capacitor. So you'll come down here, you'll find shield capacitor somewhere. Somewhere. There it is, shield capacitor. So just make sure to put it on your tray, and it's because you have the warp core, the subspace rift warp core. So what this does is, this does a plus 262.5 shield regeneration and a plus 15 shield power setting for 10 seconds. So here's my shield power setting right now is 91. But if I enable, that's really high by the way, I didn't realize my shield power was so high right now, that's cool. But if I enable this, dang, 106 shield power. But it doesn't last long. Let's watch and see how fast it goes down here. Still 106. Still up. There we go. Drops. So it only lasts like 5 seconds or something. Really not long. It doesn't last for 15 seconds, that's for sure. Or 10 seconds. It's really short. Repairs disabled shields. So like if you have an enemy that has disabled your shields, I think the Tholians maybe do this. No, they don't do that. Something does it. You can hit this and that will repair disabled shields as well. So that's cool. That's nice, but it doesn't last long. So if you need some extra shield power because you're taking a lot of damage, bam, you hit that. You also gain shield regeneration, and that's just part of the warp core. So the two-piece bonus that I can't really benefit from is the plus 10% anti-proton damage. Can't benefit from that because I'm not using anti-proton weapons. But I can show you how that differs. I can show you what that difference is. We'll go here. Here is the anti-proton thing. Right now, it's 683 anti-proton damage, 547 DPS. So 683 anti-proton damage. We take the warp core off so that we don't have the bonus anymore. It is now 621. And our damage, our DPS has gone down to 497. So 621, 497. And that's without any anti-proton buffs. You put on the 10% anti-proton buff, now you're up to 683 and 547. So it really does help. So if you have all anti-proton weapons, having those two pieces on will help. And then imagine, of course, you can have tactical consoles too. So that gives you an idea of what that looks like and how that works. There's really no other special abilities. I mean, all of these are just my buff abilities here, and those can be changed to anything you want. Of course, you've got your launch advanced obelisk swarmers. Just make sure you put your button on your tray for them. Yeah, so you got those two things, and you got the shield capacitor. Make sure you put that on there. And that's it. That's it. Well, you've got the target subsystem stuff. A lot of people like to use this. I really don't. But this ship does support. You've got target auxiliary subsystems, target engine subsystems, shield subsystems, or weapon subsystems. So if you like subsystem targeting, you can do that with this ship as well. And in fact, in this tray here, where you have your weapons going and everything, those buttons are automatically on this thing right here, so you can use them. And also, it looks like you can control your hangar, your swarmers from this menu too. So you could do away with these two, unless you just wanted to see what each one was doing, and just use this to control. So if I put this on attack, it sets both of them to attack. So this one is a global setting for both fields, is what that does. So if you wanted to control all 12 of them at once, this might be the better menu to use. And you've got that subsystem targeting on there too. Then you can do away with these and have more window space. That's up to you, however you want to do it. That's really all there is to show with this ship right now, because I don't have the full set. Look at all these swarmers though. I have those. I definitely have those swarmers. But I don't have, like, you know, really much of anything that I can show you. I guess let's look at the specs on it right now, at least with what I'm running. My hull is beefed up a little bit from the 53.5 to 56.5 right now, and that's without any real special stuff going on. I don't have any hull healing. Let's see. I'm trying to think now. Does improve shield? No, that's shield hit points. Shield healing. Yes. So the Aegis set does not have a hull healing thing. Only the Borg one does. But even without that, it's 56. So I mean, if I wanted to add the Nukaris thing that buffs your hull, and I wanted to add, you know, like I was talking about, the neutronium, fleet neutronium, and the Borg thing that increases the hull strength, I mean, I could see this being well over 60,000 hull. You know, 65 could we do? Maybe. Dang, could you imagine if you put all your skill, if you put everything into everything that boosts hull strength, could you get this thing up to 70? I don't know, but it's a thought. I mean, I want to try it, and especially with the advanced one. Yeah, you have to have the advanced one, Could you imagine the advanced one with everything into hull? You could really have the a high hull strength. I want to do that. But that's going to take some time. But I really want to do it just to try it and see how high I can push it, because that would be amazing. 10-8 on my shields. I'm only using Aegis, so we'll just kind of ignore that. All these other stats really just depend on what your traits are and everything that you're using and doing. Oh, here's the part that sucks. My turn rate is 4.3 degrees a second. That's the part that sucks. And I do not have RCS. And I don't have a very high engine speed either, 43. So here's how slow it turns. We'll try to do a full turn. Look, I'm trying to do a full turnaround. We could sit here for days. We could sit here for days. It takes this long just to turn around to my front to ESD. If I wanted to blow it up, it would take me forever. That is how slow it turns. Look at my swarmers though. They are so cute. Yeah, that's just a pig. That's a pig. RCS will help you a little. More engine power will help you a little. Emergency power to engines will help you a little. Obviously your evasive maneuvers will help you. But even with that, it's still kind of slow. Still takes a while to come all the way around. It didn't even make it all the way around. So there you go. Even with evasive maneuvers, I could only turn halfway around. I couldn't turn all the way around. That's bad. So turning, yes. This is why you're going to be just sitting in space not doing anything. I just want to go really quick into a red alert, or not a red alert, but a defend thingy here, and just look at it really quick. Look at some swarmers in action. Look at my beams in action. I mean, just to see. I'm not going to play this thing in STFs because it's just not good for that right now. But once I get the advanced one, believe you me, I will do that. I will make an awesome build out of this. I plan to. Just gonna take me a lot of time. Boy, it is huge. If you zoom in, you put a ship next to this thing. By the way, I love the pattern on this. There's some good views of it. Alright, let's blow something up, shall we? Where's something to blow up? There's too many people here. Let's go to one player. Yeah. There we go. There's some things down there. Over there. Let's call out the swarmers. I'm not even going to fight with my ship. I'm just going to call out my swarmers. And I'm just going to let my swarmers do the job. Watch this. I'm going to let it cool down. I guess I'm not. Look at my swarmers go. They're firing transphasics. Let's do attack target. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to watch them attack. There's all my swarmers out, and they're all on attack mode. Look at that. Look at that. Oh yeah, baby. I didn't have to do a thing. Not a single thing. I don't know what these stars are. I keep seeing that now, and it's adding points, and it puts a star up there. Somebody tell me what the stars do, because I haven't figured that out yet. So there you go. Swarmers in action. I didn't have to do a thing. See if they can keep up with me at full impulse. Apparently they can. But boy, do I turn slow. Come on, turn around, turn. Need more enemies. I need a challenge. I'm not ready for a challenge. Let's go to the ship over here and see what these swarmers can do. It's an escort. Nope. Inertia. Can't stop. Oh, wow. Came in like lightning. That was sweet. I didn't have to do a darn thing. See, I want to turn around. I cannot turn. I want to get to this ship, but I can't turn. Turn faster. What are they fighting? They're fighting something. Or I hear something fighting something. Go! Get those birds of praise. Where are all my babies at? Oh, they all went away. Where'd they go? I don't know what happened. All of a sudden I lost them all. Maybe they got... Oh, there they are. What's going on? Where are they? Oh, there they are. They're way up. Oh, they're way back there. They didn't keep up with me. Okay, so you just kind of have to watch them. Make sure that they keep up with you. I just got too far away from them, I guess. Well, anyway, that gives you a little bit of idea about what they do. So my reactive shielding is actually working. It's buffed up twice already. Hardens my shields. That's kind of cool. Anyway, well, that gives you an idea about the swarmers. Gives you an idea about how maybe you can build an obelisk up, and what you can do with one, and the abilities that it has. It's a carrier. It's gonna turn. It's gonna act like a carrier. So if you're into carriers, this is probably one of the better ones. Oh, they look like a little sperm moving around out there, don't they? It's kind of funny. I will say one thing that I've been watching. Let's turn off my engine view here. I like this purpley kind of plasma energy, whatever that is. I just think that looks so cool, and I like purple. Purple is one of my favorite colors. Looks like these have purple streams too. I like that. I wish the warp core would change the visuals of the ship, but oh well. So that's an early look at the obelisk. Not early, but just a look at the obelisk, at least the free one. The one you're really going to want if you want to make a difference in the world is going to be the advanced one. Like, that really makes a difference. But if you want a tank and you want people to pound on you without dying, the advanced one is going to be the one you want. And I want to do that. I want to really make a good anti-proton tanky obelisk on my engineer and say, here's a tank. You know, if you need me in a match and you want someone to sit there and aggro everybody and have them attack me, and I'll do that. I'll sit there in my obelisk and do that. That's probably what it's best for. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that video. That's about all I can show you with this thing right now. It's not extremely exciting, and there's not a whole lot to show, because if you don't have all those 3 abilities on it, it's not that exciting. And unfortunately, it cost 800 low-buy to get the other ship. I wish it was a Z-Store ship and not a low-buy ship, but what you gonna do? So, everybody, hope you enjoyed that. When I can, I will follow this video up with the advanced obelisk, and I will do it in all the STFs as normal. But I cannot tell you when that will be. Could be a very long time. So thank you all for watching, and please stay tuned for the next.